Ignite your passion for the eternal Word while searching for ancient tested answers to today's questions. Delve into the mysteries of the Bible to discover ancient Jewish wisdom with Rabbi Daniel Lapin. Now, here is today's program.
Well, hi. I'm Rabbi Daniel Lapin, and this is my dear wife, Susan. And we are friends and partners and lovers, and we've collaborated on a lot of things. We've collaborated on 7 children.
We did.
Terrific children. We vote together because there's not much sense, is there, in husbands and wives cancelling out each other's vote. We boat together when we take our vacations, and here we are together on TCT, and this is just a wonderful opportunity for us. And I really think that, I mean, we should really give thanks to TCT, and they deserve a lot of credit for giving us the opportunity to share with you ancient Jewish wisdom. Because you see, we are of the deep conviction that Jewish or Christian, our entire way of life is rooted in the pages of that marvelous, mysterious, majestic volume we call the Bible. And it's not just a story book about all kinds of ancient people and long forgotten incidents. Not at all. It is a vital, necessary guidebook to successful living. And that's really what we want to talk about. And having the chance as an Orthodox Jewish rabbi to share with all of you here on TCT is really a very exciting opportunity for us. So a big thank you, TCT Television. This is just terrific. And the subject I think we want to start talking about, of course, is marriage, right?
Marriage, because really
that's where
it
affects
starts. Just about everybody.
And
it should, if it doesn't.
It affects everybody in the sense that even if you yourself think that you're out of the story, if everybody else around you has marriages that are, shall we say, terrific, then that means
you will benefit.
You'll benefit.
Society
in every way. For a start, the children in your neighborhood will be terrific children, and it's really nice to live in a neighborhood with good kids. But if, on the other hand, everyone around you has a marriage that is collapsing, then your quality of life goes down very badly in many different ways. For one thing, the kids in your neighborhood are going to be pretty unpleasant to have around. And whether it ranges from trouble with police and vandalism, destructiveness, noise, everything flows out of marriages that are in bad shape, and everybody suffers.
So where did marriage come from? Who came up with this brilliant idea of marriage? One man and one woman basically saying, we're making a lifetime commitment and we're going to raise a family together and just stick it out.
And I think what we want to try and show everybody is that there is no way that this happened without God himself revealing this blueprint for life that we call marriage. Without that, it simply couldn't have come into existence. And what we want to show you is why that is an absolute reality. So let's imagine, should we do that? Should we talk about...
You like to call a thought experiment.
Yeah, a thought experiment.
Picture something and
where we don't
say,
actually
what's going to happen next?
Quit and go and do this thing, because some of the things are so obvious we can just think our way through them. So let's do that together, shall we? Let's imagine, should we imagine a trip of high school boys going on an excursion?
Okay, sounds like a good high school.
Okay, high school trip, boat trip, we like that. All right, they're going to an island. And the boat wrecks, and all of a sudden, let's imagine you're the teacher. You are now the only adult in charge of 50 high school boys, and you arrive on this island, and let's just stipulate for now that you're not going to be rescued for 5 years. You're stuck here for 5 years. What are your problems? As the only responsible adult, you know you've got to make sure that you've got to keep him safe, which means you need food and you need water and you need shelter. And this is a deserted, isolated island in the middle of nowhere. You have no radio equipment. You're on your own. Basically, you've got to start your own little society. And so you're going to figure out ways to get a group of boys to go off and look for fruit and vegetables, and maybe another group of boys to go search for a water source. You might even send a group of boys down to the lagoon to try and see if they can fish.
Okay, I want to make this a little more complicated. What happens if instead of 50 boys, You have 50 boys, 25 boys, sorry. I'm good at the math. And 25 girls. You still need food, you still need shelter, you still need water.
But there's a bigger
very
problem.
soon you're going to have another issue that you just cannot afford to ignore.
Yeah, exactly right. So now it's much tougher. We got 25 high school boys, 25 high school girls, and here's the nightmare. You are in charge. Now, you got a decision to make pretty soon, which is, are you going to allow them to pair off or not? And you got to decide. And if you say, well, no pairing off, and they do it anyway, what are you going to do when a high school girl turns up pregnant? You might say, well, no problem. Yes, is a problem, because for a certain time during pregnancy, I think it's fair to say that most women are not really useful in terms of going out and killing wild pigs, or
Fair statement.
would that be a fair statement? So somebody has to, somebody's going to have to.
But more than that, relationships between males and females tend to lead to fighting, and between the men and between the women,
Yes,
if there isn't some sort of organization to it.
Exactly. So what are you going to do? And pretty soon, I think you as the teacher realize you've got a real headache on your hands. I mean, let's say, fine, so one of the girls has a baby now. Do we have to find out who impregnated her? Who's responsible for feeding her and taking care of her and her baby? I mean, there you are on an island. Somebody's got to make sure she gets food and water. She's not able to participate in the early phases. Who's going to, is it everybody? Or is it just the guy who she was with? What do you do? Big, serious, tough decisions have to be made here. And this is a miniature picture of what society looks like if there is not some kind of structure for organizing how men and women are going to live together.
I think you could say pretty fairly that you're going to have certain guys who are going to turn out to be stronger and better looking and better personalities and more capable of, you know, collecting and getting more food and building better shelters.
Thereby
and you know
being
what?
more attractive.
They're going to be more attractive. And just, so does one guy get to say, well, these are my 6 women? Or, I mean, would one woman end up saying, these are my 6 guys, if she turns out to be very attractive? If people, especially if there's no memory, if no one has a memory of coming from a society.
Oh, let's put that into this thought experiment.
Important.
Let's pretend that everybody had amnesia, that everyone forgot about what things used to be like.
I think if I took this not too far down the future, I see a disaster.
Major disaster, that's right. So we've got to assume that somehow or another marriage emerges. Now, how does it emerge? And my question is, do you think it was a man or a woman who first thought about marriage?
Well, if we're going by figuring people haven't changed very much, I'd have to say a woman.
Well, I think so, yeah, because, you know, imagine a guy coming up to a girl, you know, years and years and years ago, and he comes up to her and says, hello, Mary. No, it's not going to happen like that. I mean, I think there's this great idea, you know, I should marry you. I don't think so. But here's what might have happened. She'd come to him and she'd say, hey, Fred, I've had this fabulous idea. I got this idea that we should get married. He said, Fred, well, what do you mean? What's marriage? Well, Mary says, well, it means that you do not look at or touch any other women, just me. And it means that you'll take care of me when I have a baby. And it means we'll live together. Fred, come back, she'll say, as Fred vanishes over the horizon in a cloud of dust. He's not going to stay around for that idea.
It doesn't seem that marriage just would evolve.
Wouldn't evolve. Guys certainly wouldn't think of it. And if a woman suggested it, no guy would stay around. It's not in his short-term interest. And most guys think short-term before they're married, not long-term. So it's clear that something must have interfered, something must have come along and taught marriage to the world as a system that works. And what is that thing? Well, that thing is an incredible event that took place a little over 3,000 years ago when God spoke to humanity on Mount Sinai through a man called Moses. And he started off and he said, I want you to write down, and I'm going to give you a few very important chapters. At the beginning of this book, we'll call Genesis. And it's going to be an account of the original man and the original woman. And Moses might have said, well, God, like, why do we need all that? And God says, we need that because this is not just a story about the origins of mankind. This is a handbook for successful living. This is a blueprint to life.
And to start the blueprint, you have to start with marriage, because everything, the economy, relationships between groups of people, everything flows. Marriage is the first relationship that God really created.
And isn't it true that children at school have been shown again and again do best when?
I have no idea what you're looking for.
When children who come from intact,
yes.
intact marriages and stable marriages where the family has dinner together at night, that is one of the strongest and most reliable
Certainly one of the
indicators.
best gifts you can give your children is growing up in a stable, two-parent, structured family.
And so what we need to do is start taking a good look at the way in which the first couple of chapters in Genesis are not just a story of the origin of the world. No, but they are a specific list of instructions for building successful relationships between men and women. Things that you can use in your marriage if you are married, things that can help prepare you for a successful marriage if you're not, things that thousands and thousands of years of successful marriages have employed in their marriages. These are secrets that we will unpack for you, and we will lay out as we explain exactly what it is that we're doing. And one of the things that we have done is that we have prepared something called Madam, I'm Adam, which is a fantastic encapsulation of the material that we're speaking about. It's a 2 CD set, 2 audio CDs, and you can listen while you exercise, while you're driving. And it's also got a beautiful study guide in there. And it really shows you how these things work. Even though you may not know any Hebrew, it doesn't matter. By the time you've gone through this, you're actually going to be able to start recognizing some Hebrew words. You're going to really find this absolutely fascinating, and you're able to obtain your own copy of this right through TCT. And stay tuned, because you're going to find out the details of how to do just that. And what we're also going to do is now give you some examples of how to unpack Genesis in order to really lay out for you and for your marriage just how this works.
If you've enjoyed the rich wisdom of Rabbi Daniel Lapin, then we invite you to delve deeper into the Genesis journeys with Madam, I'm Adam, Decoding the Marriage Secrets of Eden. This CD volume closely examines the lives of Adam and Eve while eliminating God's biblical blueprint for marriage. This audio series includes 12 lessons and features: Embrace the Difference, Adam and the Hippo, and Burning with Passion. This handsomely packaged volume includes a Hebrew language study guide too. To order, call 866-338-5033. And for your donation of $50 or more to TCT, you too can learn timeless truths and permanent principles necessary for establishing and maintaining your family. Reserve your audio